Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self-love, self-care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about finding fulfillment in your life. I'm Lady Bounce.
And I am A Slate.
All right. What gives you fulfillment?
Don't just ask me that like that. Like, let's see. Like, I like cookies, kids, you know.
All of the happy things.
All the happy things. Yeah, for me, right now, what gives me fulfillment is honoring my gift and living in what I believe to be my purpose. That is fulfilling to me. To be able to inspire people and motivate and encourage people. So, yeah, that's what.
But I think those are great things, and I would have to echo the same response that I am fulfilled because I'm pursuing my passion. I'm doing my life's work, and even if I wasn't a teacher per se, I would still be doing something with the youth, something in education. Something to impact, because that's what my passion is. That's what makes me happiest. I taught summer school this summer. I'm already back to work. You know, when my other coworkers are still enjoying their summer, I've already been back, interviewing new staff and just getting things ready for the new year. And it doesn't feel like work. Like, I'm not mad that I have to get up at 7 and 8 and be at work,
because you are doing what you love and loving what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how you feel. That's how I feel fulfilled. When I'm doing what I love and I'm loving what I'm doing, definitely.
And not having the pressure of it. Like, I know
there is no pressure if you love it. If you love it, it doesn't even seem like work. It's just effortless because that's what you want to do.
Right.
But when you just doing, I got to get up, I got to go to work, I got to do this to pay a bill, I got to do this so these kids can have this, I got to do this for so-and-so. It's draining.
It's draining because then you feel like you never have the time to just stop and take it all in, good, bad, or otherwise, because you're so in the rat race. I gotta do, I gotta. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, when it's just you and you're in the bathtub or you're in a shower and it's just you and your thoughts, then you feel so empty.
Speaking of empty, I've been talking to a few people, like an old friend, same friend I've had since I was 3 years old, and I was talking to her, and she was like, I just don't feel like, I don't feel right. It doesn't feel like I have a purpose. Why am I here? And I asked her, I was like, well, what is it that you really want to do? It's got to be something that you've always wanted to do, but you've never been able to do it because of work or whatever, family life or what have you. She said, nothing. And then I said, it gotta be something. She said, I don't know. And I was really blown aback. I was shocked because I didn't know that there were people out here that didn't know what they want to do. And here I am, 41. Like, what do you mean? You don't have a dream? You don't have a goal? So I guess in that sense, you could find yourself unfulfilled because you don't know what is filling to you. So I suppose.
Well, in my line of work, I see that out of the kids that I work with, and then I see other people put these unrealistic expectations on them and say, well, at 17, you expect this child to be able to answer and say, I want to do X, Y, and Z for the rest of my life, and this is all I'm going to do. This is going to bring me happiness. It's going to bring me fulfillment. But then, like you said, you run into somebody who's the same age as you.
And she's actually older than me.
Well, yeah. So she's older than you.
Yeah.
And she still has no idea what she wants to do. So now it really seems like an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, to put that on
these kids to go, well, what are you going to do?
What do you want to be when you grow up? I mean, we can get what do we want to be when we grow up. But when it goes into what is your purpose? What is your calling? What do you feel like will sustain you for the rest of your life and give you joy and you can still make money from? What will that be? That's when it gets tough for some people.
Right.
And I guess I can consider myself blessed that I've always had a dream. When I was a kid, I was like, I'm going to be a writer. or a journalist or a cop. I had it all together. Then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be an activist that writes.
Yes.
Right? And then I'm like, and I'm going to have a green Jaguar because that's the car that writers drive. So I kind of stuck with that feeling. I just knew I've always knew what I wanted to do. And anymore, the way that I find fulfillment, no matter what I'm doing, be it doing nursing assisting work, or be it working in the schools and the workshops, or doing poetry or podcasts, and if it doesn't all tie in to that creativity, that poetic, that poetry, or the motivational speaking and inspiring others, then I'm like, it's not for me, you know. So that's how I stay fulfilled.
And that makes a lot of sense, because then you don't end up using energy into something that either isn't going to fulfill you, isn't going to sustain you. And then that's when it feels like it's a chore, or it's a burden, or I'm just doing this because this is what's expected, or this is what is wanted, you know, of me and out of me. So you definitely, I would have to say, are supremely blessed to be able to work in and to walk in your purpose and find the happiness within it. And also that when it gets to a point where it stops being that way, that you can let it go and walk away. Yeah. And I think for me, that's where I struggle. I can do all of these things that find me and bring me fulfillment. But then when it's time to let it go, or when it's time to realize and recognize that this isn't what I want, this isn't how I like it, it's not doing anything for me, I tend to hold on to it and still do it because it's expected. Other people want it, you know, out of me, and I'm a people pleaser, you know, deep down. So I want to make everybody happy. But then if I'm making everybody else happy, I'm not making myself happy.
So what do you like? Do you have something you could point out now, like you're doing, that's not making you happy, but you're still doing it? How do you still find fulfillment when you're in those tough situations? How do you still find joy in those situations?
Honestly, it doesn't have anything to do with me at all. I
think that's the whole story of our whole life. It's bigger than us. It's
bigger than not even big. And not necessarily like that. I think for me, it goes back to like what I said before about I'm a people pleaser. Yeah. So even when I'm unhappy with it and I'm not fulfilled, if it's making the other person happy and it's making the other person fulfilled, then I'll continue to do it.
But then that could be something. Instead of saying I'm a people pleaser, I find joy in bringing pleasure to others.
Okay. But on the flip side of that, and bringing that pleasure to others, what happens when it's not bringing me pleasure?
Stop.
But I can't, because I want to make these people happy.
No. Because remember, you have to stay fly first. Love yourself. You got to first love yourself, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, I can't lie. That is definitely a struggle.
We have to be really careful sometimes what we ask for. Because I was like, oh, I want my whole family together. And I want them all happy and whole. And then when everybody started moving in all at once, I was like, I want my whole family to be living separately. And be happy and whole. I mean, yeah, we got to pick or choose. Either way, just find joy and light in it either way. I mean, but you got to always look out for what's best for you, because if you feeling like, oh yes, I've made them happy, but I'm so tired, I'm so exhausted, I don't have funds for this, that, and the other, then you doing yourself a disservice. You know what I mean? So we got to know when to let go. But we'll talk about that. We got some time. We'll talk about that, because I think people going to want to talk about that. But more about this, how do we find fulfillment? Like, what are some things we could do? I know one of the things we could do if we don't know, like for my friend who I love you, bestie. What one of the things we can do is like figure out what our purpose is. Like, what's that one thing that'll really get you going and make you feel like you've lived a full life? Because I don't want to be the person that goes on to the hereafter, whatever that may be. And then they like, well, she lived, she died, the end. Right. No. I tell my kids all the time.
I got a whole paragraph in the middle of that dash.
I tell my kids all the time, I am going to live forever. And you will hear me forever. You will hear me on the radio. You will hear me on albums or wherever. You will see my face in different art forms. You will read my works. You will see people and they will speak of or speak through. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't plan on dying no time soon. But for those who do not know, our brother S. Ali Myers. You can look him up on YouTube. I mean, he is a genius.
He is indeed.
What's the word? Metaphysical. Is that the word that it is?
Yes.
I think it's metaphysical. So if you want to know something about metaphysics, which I'm trying to learn more about, where I'm learning more about, this guy will help you open up your mind to so much more. I mean, be it stones, be it the moon. I mean, come on, it's bigger than us, y'all.
And numerology.
And hey,
he's big on a numerology. But
if you just want to get down to the basics and get to the root of things, he has written a book. It is the Noun Purpose Manual. How to find your life's calling today. How to find your life calling today by S. Ali Myers. Look that thing up. YouTube, Amazon.
I have that book. I got it for a gift.
Amen. Somebody loves you.
Yes. And it's a workbook. So you can actually write in it.
Yeah.
And so I struggled because I was like, should I write in it in pencil so I can erase it in case it changes? Because, ink is permanent. And then I thought about it. Right. No, I'm going to write in it in ink because I'm going to manifest whatever this is that I'm supposed to have.
I love it. I'm going to write it in ink. When you getting ready to make your decision on what you're going to do for the rest of your life. I had a 6th grade teacher, Miss Russ, and she was watching Mahogany, and she wanted me and a sister named Jewel Jameson to sing Do You Know Where You're Going To by Diana Ross. And one of the parts she said, do you know what you're going to do for the rest of your life? No, we don't. But if you don't, some people don't. But if you don't know what you're going to do for the rest of your life, write down, I'm going to first love myself, and write it in ink. Make that a permanent declaration and affirmation to yourself that that's one of the things that you are going to do. And while you're doing that, think about some more self-care. We have some self-care here today for those of you that are running the rat race, as Miss Lady Bounce said, and you going from this job to that job and this person to that person and this family and this thing to that thing. Whatever your line of work may be, whatever you're working on, know the signs of being a workaholic. Okay? Because it's one thing to be busy and it's another thing to be productive. Okay?
Yes.
So know the signs when this is our self-care moment. Know the signs when you are a workaholic. You love your job. You work hard. Okay. Maybe too hard. One of the many signs of being a workaholic is working more than 40 hours a week. I think we all do that.
I know I do.
I think we all, because some of us got 16 jobs.
I got 3 jobs, man.
Me working on my 16th job. However, it is possible that you simply have a strong work ethic and are not a workaholic. The difference is finding balance, okay? Prioritizing, and sometimes just leaving work at work. That's the change maker right there.
Whoa.
Lady Bounce.
That's my whole struggle right there.
We know you got a whole nother office so you can work at home work from work.
I know.
That you don't even have to work on at home. Bless your heart. That is dedication, y'all. That is dedication. Number 1. This is how you'll know they think about work when they should be focusing on driving or changing the baby.
The baby's a change, however, I do drive every day.
Every day.
Every day.
They believe working long hours is justified if they love their work. Oh. Now, I'm one of those people. Well, it makes sense that I can drive to 3 cities every day because I love what I do. That makes sense. It makes sense.
Right. That's how you justify it.
I think that might just mean we're really ambitious or, again, dedicated. Okay. We're a little confused about this. Let's talk about it. 3, they hate being interrupted by family and others who want them to do something else.
Oh my.
Okay. Do you feel like that?
I do.
Because I know I do. Like, don't tell me they like, why you want to do this poetry thing? That's not really going to work out. Or why don't talk to me like that.
And they, you know, when I'm working on something and then they go, Mom, we haven't eaten dinner yet.
Do not. Like, go warm up a Hot Pocket.
Eat some cereal. Like, ain't it some cereal in there? I know your daddy went to the store. So, yeah.
Luckily, everybody, we are blessed to have older children.
Right.
That can cook for themselves.
Thank God.
4, they permit relationships to suffer because of work. Or 5, they often worry about being laid off or fired, even when their present job is secure. That is the difference. It says, let me go backwards because that didn't make sense to me. The difference, however, it is possible that you simply have a strong work ethic and are not a workaholic. The difference is that the speakaholic cannot speak. The workaholic cannot live a life in balance by prioritizing activities and leaving work at work. Okay. They often worry about being laid off or fired even when their present job is secure. So for knowing the warning signs of a workaholic, basically, if you can't put your work down when you get home and that work is designated for another space, do some self-care and leave that work there. Because when you're operating in your gift, you don't leave that thing nowhere. You take it everywhere you go. Hence why Miss Lady Bounce is bringing her work home and has an office at home. Hence why I'm always looking for ways to motivate, encourage, and inspire, especially poetically. So just pull your life back into balance by modifying your schedule so as not to devote a lot of time to things that are not a priority. Prioritize, prioritize, prioritize. Do what you love what you do, and you will never, ever have to work again. How about it?
I like it.
And then our mindfulness minute. Here's a good one. Make a 10-point list of what's important to you. These are 10 ways. You can write down 10 ways of what's important to you. And I guarantee you will find some fulfillment somewhere in there, probably at least 10 different points that will fulfill you. Millions of people live their lives without a sense of direction. Unless you know what is really important to you and what you want out of life, how are you going to know where you are going, how to get what you want, and what your goals in life are? Think of 10 things that are really important to you. For example, family unity. Then make each item as specific as possible. Be specific. Instead of family unity, maybe you really mean eating meals together, working on chores together, or praying together, not moving the whole family in the house all at one time and y'all living together, right? Be clear. Refine the 10 things on your list until you know exactly what is of primary importance to you. These are the things that will make you happiest. Knowing what they are can help you take care of yourself. Make a 10-point list of what's important to you. That is our mindfulness minute on how to find fulfillment. And knowing the warning signs of being a workaholic is our self-care assignment on how to find a fulfillment, because we want y'all to get to that period of overflow where you just boiling over with joy and pleasure with your life and situation. But as always, we have to let the teacher be the teacher, right? So we gonna move over and get our brain science.
I love that. All right. So here are 5 ways, to acquire success and discover fulfillment. 1, challenge yourself to grow, which is what you just said.
Love it.
Happiness is a byproduct of action. Take steps towards fulfillment by engaging in the never-ending process of self-improvement. Remain open to new thoughts and ideas. Stay hungry for knowledge and practice what you preach. You can always become a better professional and a better person. I love it.
I love it.
This one is you right here. Contribute to others.
Ooh, that's
authentic fulfillment comes from contributing to others. People enjoy engaging in charity work because it both helps others feel good. It makes you feel good as well. Prosocial actions make us feel more connected and increases our compassion for people's unique experiences. Facing the existential reality of our own finitude aids our ability to make meaningful connections to others, which opens our hearts and changes our perspective on life.
All right.
I like this one. Live in the present moment. I struggle with this.
Now. Yeah.
Let go of your never-ending self-talk. Take a short break without scrolling through the endless entertainment of your phone. Pause and just be present. When an old computer has too many programs running at the same time, it slows down.
That's right.
The more that you can connect to the stillness of the here and now, the lower your anxiety and frustration, and the greater your focus becomes. When you are immersed in the present moment, your productivity and happiness will skyrocket.
Yeah. Happiness skyrocketing. I think we ought to use that.
I think so. Number 40. Now, this is a big one because I run into this with my students. End your sense of entitlement.
Ooh, don't nobody owe you nothing.
Most of us feel like we should have certain things happen and we should have gotten that promotion, or we should have felt appreciated for our good deed. We should have had more time to meet a deadline. The truth is, we construct the small room to which we're imprisoned. Oh my God.
Yep.
When we set expectations for what should happen, we contribute to feeling frustrated, anxious, and depressed. We need to shift our focus to what is and start being grateful for what we have instead of brooding over what we don't. I love that.
I do too.
Number 5, connect to something larger than yourself. Just as giving helps us feel more empathetic with others and appreciative of what we have, sometimes it's important to feel how small our problems really are.
That's right.
When you immerse yourself in the mountains or swim in the vastness of the ocean, you realize how meaningless your complaints are in the long run. We often give power to our problems and make them larger than they need to be. Suffering is part of the human condition. Looking for happiness outside of yourself contributes to unhappiness and leads to regret at the end of life. Stop expecting and start appreciating. Stop thinking about what should be and start being grateful for what is. The more you can continue learning and growing, the happier you will become. When you challenge yourself to grow, contribute to others, and live in the present moment, you will improve your productivity and sense of fulfillment. After ending your sense of entitlement and changing your perspectives on your problems, you'll be equipped to acquire wealth and the one thing money can't buy: fulfillment.
Hey now.
I like that.
So don't be all concerned with making that fat check, that big check. You got to get something that money can't buy to really be fulfilled.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because even if money was gone, like say money was not a thing,
right?
And you didn't need money to get the things you wanted. Would you still be happy?
Right.
Would you know how to be happy without those things?
Right. Right. Because it's just like they say in the greatest story ever told. They say it in that good book, or however everybody wants to word it. Not even the birds and the bees worry about tomorrow, right? Right. And then my aunt had just said something to me a couple weeks ago. She said, everything that lives and breathes on the planet of this earth does exactly what it was created and purposed to do, except us.
Wow.
And I said, wow, that's something to say. But then I was speaking to your husband, and your husband said everything that lives and breathes on the planet of this earth does exactly what it's supposed to do because it doesn't have to work for a living. And then I said, well, we don't either. We can do some of the things that were said there so we can live a more fulfilling life rather than
I like that.
A life of finance and debt and negativity. And I love that you said change your perception, about some of the things, because one of the sisters in Yellow Springs, she said she was in college. When she was in college, she came in the cafeteria and she just flopped down and she was so angry. She was like, I'm cold and I'm tired and I'm hungry. Like, it's a terrible day. And she said somebody just walked up to her and said, well, put on a sweater, get you something to eat, and go take a nap.
Boom.
Sometimes what we think is the end of the world is really just a very simple fix. So we just look at what we're dealing with, be grateful for what we have and being present, and be grateful for the opportunity to do it all again another way. With every breath we get an opportunity to do something again another way.
That was one of our self-care assignments like a month ago, and it was, be thankful for every part of your life, the good and the bad, and be thankful for the opportunity to experience it all, because there's a lesson and a blessing on the other side of even those things that we find to be negative or detrimental, or those things that we don't want. There's a lesson and a blessing on the other side. I just posted something
on Facebook today thinking of that Black Butterfly song. It's tell your sons and daughters what the struggle brings. And I was like, wait a minute. The struggle brings, it brings growth. It brings tenacity. It brings love. It brings perseverance. So it's all about how you look at things.
Absolutely.
So I want y'all to take your blinders off, put your shades on, put your clear lenses on, put your contacts in, whatever you must do, and look around and say, dang, I am so blessed, and I have the opportunity to be completely immersed in joy, pleasure, satisfaction, and all things good for me.
I like it.
Yeah. So I hope that you find some fulfillment, and I hope that we have been a conduit of to help you find that. Stay focused, be determined. You can find us on Facebook,
Instagram,
Twitter,
I drew a blank,
and SoundCloud,
and YouTube.
And you can watch us on YouTube.
And you can email us always at flywithusla@gmail.com.
That's all right. The teacher has been teaching all day.
I know, like I totally just lost it. Like I knew what I was about to say, but
it's all right. It's all right. That's why we're here for each other and with each other. I support my sister in that thing, because I had a nap today.
I like it.
So as always, we love you for flying with us. Please continue to fly with us. Remember to first love yourself. I am A. Slate.
I'm Lady Bounce.
And we out here.
Peace.